Had a motorbike accident right before lockdown in 2020, lots of injuries, but the obvious one is losing my arm. I had to get it amputated, so that was a long recovery process.
So for me, because he's a good, keen young man, I wanted to keep him in my business, and knowing that fabrication wasn't going to be what he could do anymore. I talked about it with Denham, and that's where we come up with, if I got him into the office and we talked about estimating, our windows and doors program, just a good hard worker prepared to learn, and that's the main thing.
So when I was born, one of my legs was growing at a different rate to the other one. 6 months later, I had it amputated from my ankle down.
It honestly does not slow him down at all. He obviously is growing up with it, and him coming to the trade, I was like, oh, it could be a bit tricky, but it honestly hasn't affected him.
Yeah, I guess I've been lucky in that respect that I've kind of had it all my life, but yeah, just don't even notice it. It doesn't make a difference.
Stuart's been real good. My training advisor, while I was on ACC, he was coming around to my house. Instead of coming into work, he came around to my house and made it a really easy environment to work in while I was still recovering after my accident.
I started my apprenticeship back in 1987, and it was a hardcore male-orientated industry back in Northern Ireland. I am so proud of my employers here in this region who have just moved on from that culture where we are seeing people with physical disabilities and learning impairments.
Just a lot of guidance around the whole process, from getting prepared for block courses to learning all the new skills on the floor. There's a lot of support along the way from like my uncle who's in BCITO, who's good with answering a few questions if I ever have any. Family just always supporting me, making sure I stay on track and get to all my block courses and stuff. How quickly you get through your apprenticeship and how well you do solely relies on you, your attitude, your motivation to get it done.
Just getting out and doing it, trying to find an employer that would be willing to take you on. Obviously it's going to be a bit more work for them, but if you're a good enough worker and if you have enough drive and you can show up, a lot of employers will take you on.
One of my trainees is wheelchair bound, and his colleagues in the factory, they all got together in the weekend and built a big table which he can spin, so he doesn't have to move around the workshop so much in his wheelchair. I can't even begin to stress the smile that puts on my face when I come across stuff like that. It's strongly indicative of the change in the culture of our industry in New Zealand.
I just enjoy being on a different job site every day. No 2 days are the same. Yeah, we're not on the same job for longer than a week most of the time.
If you care enough about the person, it wasn't hard. Just we had to think about things, and for me it's worked out really, really good.